In the chaotic heartbeat of Lagos, where dreams rose and fell like the tides of the lagoon, a man once lived beneath the third mainland bridge. His name was Williams Andrew. Homeless, betrayed by a wife who abandoned him, stripped of his children, and forgotten by the world, he clung to only two possessions: a battered brown leather bag and an old aeronautical engineering textbook. Its pages yellowed, but its knowledge intact. One rain-soaked morning, Destiny walked into an aerospace company on the verge of collapse. The CEO, Johnson Chukwuemeka, sat weeping in his office as creditors circled like vultures. Williams, drenched and ragged, knocked on the glass door. "I can correct it," he said simply. Johnson looked up, saw a beggar, and almost laughed. But something in Williams's eyes, steady, unbroken, made him listen. Within weeks, Williams had diagnosed the fatal flaws in their satellite rocket design, saved billions, and turned the company around. Johnson made him co-CEO. Williams married Juliana, the kind-hearted accountant who had always believed in him. They welcomed a son, Clinton, but success has enemies. Obinna Okoye, the brilliant but proud former technical director, could not stomach it. He had built the company alongside Johnson for years, only to watch a man from under the bridge take the spotlight. Pride festered into hatred. Obinna hired gunmen led by a ruthless thug named Jongo to raid Williams's mansion. The attack failed. Obinna was arrested, tried, and sentenced to 20 years in Ikwi prison. Yet the biggest mistake Williams and Johnson ever made was not tracing Django. They celebrated survival. They thought justice had won. They were wrong. Deep inside Ikwi's rotting walls, Obinna smuggled in a phone. One call to Jongo was all it took. That night, explosions ripped through the prison. Masked men with AK-47s stormed the gates. Guards fell. Flames lit the darkness. Minutes later, Obinna walked free, hatred burning hotter than ever. By morning, Lagos woke to screaming headlines: "Notorious engineer escapes prison." Fear returned to Banana Island. Juliana clutched baby Clinton and wept. Johnson's face turned to stone. "A wounded lion is the most dangerous," he warned. Obinna and Jongo hid in a dingy room on the city's edge. Maps of Williams's mansion covered the table. "Tomorrow night," Obinna hissed, "we don't kill him quickly, we take him alive. I want him to beg." But Johnson had prepared. Drones circled the mansion. Armed guards tripled. Armored vehicles lined the gates. Django smiled. "They expect midnight. We hit at 11. At exactly 11 p.m. Hell arrived early. Black vans crashed the gate. Bullets tore through the night. The head of security, Amicha Chukwu, loyal husband and father of Turalit, his men hold the line. He never saw the bullet that took his life. In the chaos, Obinna and Jongo breached the compound. But Johnson's reinforcements roared in heavy firepower. Elite team. The tide turned. One by one, the attackers fell or surrendered. When the masks came off, there stood Obinna, wild-eyed and defeated. Williams looked at him and whispered, "So this is how low you've fallen." Obinna spat venom. "I would rather die than serve under a beggar from the bridge." He got his wish. The trial shook Nigeria. CCTV footage played in court. The gunfire, Amicha falling, Obinna's face revealed. Amicha's widow, Amaka, took the stand, voice breaking. "My little boy still waits for the bicycle his daddy promised. Was your pride worth that?" Obinna had no answer. The judge's gavel fell like thunder. Death by hanging. In the condemned cell, Obinna's pride finally cracked. His wife and children wept in the gallery as he begged Johnson for mercy. Johnson's reply was quiet but final. "I gave you chances. You chose hate." 48 hours later, Williams did the unthinkable. He visited Obinna in Kirikiri Maximum Prison. The cell was cold. Obinna looked small, broken. "Why are you here?" he whispered. "After everything I did, why?" Williams sat. "Because I will not carry hate to my grave. And because you deserve to hear the truth." He spoke of the bridge, of betrayal, of losing everything and still choosing to build. "I never wanted your throne, Obinna. I wanted to help. You saw a rival. I saw a brother." Tears rolled down Obinna's face. "How can you forgive me?" Williams placed a hand on his shoulder. "Not because you deserve it, because I deserve peace." He left Obinna weeping on the floor. The next morning, at dawn, the gallows rose. Obinna's daughter screamed, "Daddy!" His last words, barely audible, "Tell Williams, I'm sorry." The trapdoor opened. It was over. Years passed. Aerospace became a global giant. Williams, now silver-haired, was honored across continents. Yet every morning he polished that old brown bag and the book inside it. His son Clinton became a pilot. He married Josephine. They gave Williams twin grandsons, Jacob and Jerry. One evening, as the sun bled orange over the lagoon, Williams held his grandsons and spoke to Clinton. "Never forget, son. Pride destroys. Humility builds. I chose humility. That is why we are here." At the company's 30th anniversary, Williams addressed thousands of young engineers. "I once lived under a bridge with nothing but a book. Today, I hold my grandsons. Never let pride blind you. Choose to lift others. That is true leadership." The applause thundered. That night on the balcony, Juliana asked, "Do you ever regret forgiving him?" Williams looked at the stars. "No, forgiveness didn't free Obina, it freed me." Below them, Jacob and Jerry's laughter echoed through the mansion. From under the bridge to a legacy of generations, from tears to triumph, from brokenness to redemption, the story of Williams Andrew was complete, and pride had lost forever. Williams Andrew was now 83. The hair that had once turned silver was now snow-white, thin and soft as silk. His hands trembled slightly when he held a cup of tea, but his eyes, though steady, gentle brown eyes, still carried the same quiet fire that had once stopped Johnson from closing the company gates forever. Aerospace Dynamics Africa had become the pride of the continent. Its satellites watched over droughts and floods. Its rockets carried Nigerian astronauts to the rebuilt Unity station above the Earth, and its training academy in Zaria turned out pilots and engineers from every corner of Africa. The old brown bag and the battered textbook sat in a glass case in the company museum, labeled simply, "From here, everything began." Clinton Andrew, now 45, was the group's chief operating officer. Josephine, his wife, headed the aviation consulting arm. Their twin sons, Jacob and Jerry, 25 years old, had just returned from the United States after earning their master's degrees, Jacob in astronautical engineering at MIT, Jerry in aerospace medicine at Stanford. The family gathered every Sunday evening on the same Banana Island veranda where Williams once forgave a dying man. The lagoon still shimmered the same way. The laughter of great-grandchildren now mingled with the wind. One Sunday in early Harmattan, when the air was cool and the sky a perfect, endless blue, Williams asked to be wheeled outside earlier than usual. He wore his favorite old cardigan. In his lap rested a small wooden box. Clinton noticed first. "Dad, you're quiet today." Williams smiled faintly. "I'm listening. The sky is telling me it's time." Juliana, still beautiful at 78, felt her heart tighten. She had heard that tone only once before, the night he came home from Kirikiri after forgiving Obin. He opened the wooden box. Inside was a single photograph, creased, faded, but carefully preserved. It showed a younger Williams, still in ragged clothes, standing beside a beaming Johnson on the day the first corrected rocket design was approved. On the back, in Johnson's handwriting, "To the man who saved everything. Thank you for choosing humility." Williams passed the photo to Jacob and Jerry. "I want you to have this," he said, voice soft but clear. "Your generation will fly farther than we ever dreamed. You will live on the moon and Mars. You will carry Africa's name to the stars. But remember one thing, and remember it the way you remember your own names. Pride destroys nations. Humility builds worlds." Jacob took the photo with reverence. Jerry's eyes were wet. Williams looked up at the sky. A formation of Ada training jets roared overhead in perfect unison, Clinton's students performing the Sunday flypast in honor of the old man. The thunder of their engines rolled across the lagoon like applause from heaven. Williams closed his eyes and smiled wider than anyone had seen in years. "Listen," he whispered, "they're cheering." Juliana leaned close. "Who, darling?" "The ones who went ahead. Amicha, Johnson, even Obina. They're all there. And they're proud." His breathing slowed. Clinton knelt, taking his father's hand. "Dad." Williams opened his eyes one last time. They were bright, unafraid, full of light. "Tell them," he said, voice now barely a breath. "Tell the world the bridge is still there, but no one has to stay under it." His hand relaxed. The old man who once carried nothing but a book and a broken heart slipped peacefully into eternity, surrounded by 4 generations who loved him. That night, the country went into mourning. Presidents declared national days of tribute. Social media filled with one phrase over and over, #from under the bridge. 3 days later, 100 million people watched the state funeral on television and online. Fighter jets performed a missing man formation above Lagos. At the graveside in Ayton Cemetery, Jacob and Jerry Tall, strong and tear-streaked, placed the old brown bag and the textbook on top of the casket before it was lowered. Clinton spoke last. "My father taught us that every life is a rocket. Some burn out in rage. Others climb until they touch the face of God. He chose the second path. And because he did, we are all flying higher tonight." He looked up at the stars beginning to appear. "Rest well, Dad. The sky remembers." Far above, on the Unity station, a Nigerian astronaut, one of the first trained at the academy Williams built, looked down on the shining West African coast. In the station's chapel, a small plaque had just been unveiled. It carried only 7 words. He corrected more than rockets. He corrected hearts. Williams Andrew was home. And somewhere, in whatever place, pride finally bows, and hatred finally ends. A broken man who once hanged for his choices looked up, saw the light Williams carried, and for the first time in decades, wept tears of relief instead of rage. Because even there, forgiveness had followed him. The bridge was empty now. The mansion was full. And the sky vast, endless, and kind kept every promise Williams ever believed in. The old Third Mainland Bridge still stands, but no one lives beneath it anymore. Its underbelly has been transformed into a glowing memorial garden. Bronze statues of a man in a tattered coat holding a brown bag, and beneath him the words that changed a continent: "I can correct it." Every year on August 12th, the day Williams Andrew walked into Aerospace Dynamics Africa, thousands of schoolchildren lay flowers at the foot of the statue. They call it Correction Day, a national holiday of second chances. High above Earth, the Williams Andrew Orbital Ring, an immense tethered space elevator rising from a platform off the coast of Lagos, glitters like a silver thread connecting humanity to the stars. Its anchor station is named Juliana Station. Its first lunar city is called Clinton City. The first permanent Mars base, founded in 2061 by the twins Jacob and Jerry Andrew, is simply called Home. On this particular correction day, a sleek black and gold shuttle descends from orbit. Its call sign, Lagusio 1. Inside sits Amara Andrew, 28 years old, the great-great-granddaughter of Williams Andrew, tall comide, with her ancestors' unmistakable quiet strength. She is the youngest person ever selected to command the first crewed mission to Proxima Centauri B, an 11-year journey that will be the longest any human has ever undertaken. Amara wears the same navy blue pilot S uniform her great-grandfather Clinton once wore when he pinned on his wings. On her left chest pocket is a small hand-stitched patch, a tiny brown leather bag. As the shuttle touches down on the new Murtala Mohammed spaceport, half of Lagos has come out to watch. The crowd parts. Walking toward her with the aid of a cane is a very old woman, Josephine Andrew, now 98, the last living person who once held Williams's hand. Josephine embraces Amara. The cameras catch the moment the old woman slips something into the young commander's palm. It is the original textbook, the same yellowed, water-stained, margin-scribbled copy Williams carried under the bridge. A new note has been added on the inside cover, written in Josephine's trembling hand. To Amara, "Your great-great-grandfather corrected rockets. You will correct the distance between stars. Never forget, pride destroys worlds. Humility builds them. Fly safe, come home. We are all under the same sky." Amara kisses the old woman's forehead, then turns to the crowd. She raises the book high. 50,000 voices roar as one. She boards the Starship Redemption, a vessel whose keel was laid the day Williams died. Its dedication plaque reads, "She carries the dream of a man who once had nothing, and therefore had room for everything." At T-10 minutes, Amara straps in. The countdown begins. In the final seconds, she does something no mission commander has ever done before. She opens a shipwide channel and reads aloud the 4 words that started it all. "I can correct it."